A few days ago, I posted a video called Content Creation is a Scam, and you should watch that after this. In that video, I detailed the predatory nature that platforms like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok use to make content creators and content consumers addicted to using these platforms. But the conversation really doesn't end there, and it tethers well into the other videos on my channel here. I often say there are 5 people ruining entertainment. Influencers are on that list. So, who are the influencers? Why are they called influencers? Who are they influencing on behalf of? Buckle up, buckaroos, because influencers are all lying to you. Influencers are, well, they're basically used car salesmen. Welcome to The Pondering. I am the real-life fake wizard. If this video brings you any value at all, perhaps you feel like you learned something, consider subscribing to this channel where we're posting new videos nearly every day. Integrity. It's a big word that doesn't mean much in our world anymore. The content of one's character. When somebody gives you their word, do you trust them? Of course, it depends on the person, but in the broad scope of things, it only takes 6 or 7 post scrolls on Twitter before you find a tweet about someone cheating on their boyfriend or girlfriend, right? Here, let's do an experiment. Have you been cheated on, or do you know someone that's been cheated on? I bet you could name at least 5. See, the relationships between human beings today are superficial, fake, and replaceable. We don't have meaningful connections with people in the real world anymore. In a study from 2019, researchers polled about 3,000 adults. 6 in 10 of those adults admit they spend less time catching up with friends IRL, and 55% of those people believe that social media is the cause. We are so connected online and on our phones that that's become the way we communicate. And whereas in the past, our relationships were fewer and based on the people who were immediately and physically around us, we can now talk to each other at any time, from any place, all over the world. The bonds that we would have formed in a relationship scarcity are no longer there. I want to say that we take friendships for granted now, and probably that's true. But moreover, the way we communicate has evolved. Inside of the evolution of social media, people you never ever would have interacted with start speaking to you through videos and reels and shorts and TikToks. And sometimes they're funny, or you learn something, or they're attractive, or they have just some sparkle that makes you think, I want to see that person again. After a while, and if they're good, there will be lots and lots of people like you who start following them. And so now, someone who could have just been an average nobody with a sense of humor becomes someone you respect. And the more followers they have, the more respect you find for them. Remember, I said this works like a dominance hierarchy? Followers matter. They especially matter to the influencer. And now, because you followed them and lots of others have too, they have people to influence. And what are they going to do with that influence? Well, before that, let's establish a few more things. 1, being a creator often takes up considerable amounts of time. That's not saying it's hard manual labor or anything, but you have to ideate, write, script, and then film, edit, post, moderate. So there are steps. And coming up with ideas is not easy for a lot of people. 2, creators don't make much money. Oh boy, that's controversial. I've had friends with channels 10 times the size of mine who tell me people think they're rich living in mansions because they're a YouTuber. That's not the case. In a study from 2023, it stated that the majority of YouTubers in the US do not earn enough money from ad revenue to surpass the poverty line, which had data similar to a 2016 study stating almost the same thing, but with a scary statistic. It's more like 96.5% of creators don't pass the poverty line on ad revenue. Now, there's a couple factors here. Not all creators are monetized. Being monetized doesn't mean they're compliant with ad requirements. And the fact most of the data can be skewed when you account for how much money goes to the largest creators. Someone like Asmongold or Mr. Beast can put out a video and make bank, but someone like me, I see like $20 a video. Like on a good day. I'm not complaining, that's just how it is. So now taking this back to the influencer discussion, you're looking at people who have amassed respect in the form of a subscriber base. Now apply the fact that keeping that subscriber base takes hundreds of hours in development, and then also apply the fact that they're not making much money from the platforms they're posting to. And so, choo-choo, the train has arrived. All aboard the Advertising Express. Most influencers want to escape their normal jobs, and to their credit, many of them are passionate about what they do and what they create. But because they don't make enough money on the native platforms, they're forced to turn to something else. But before I reveal that something else, a word from our sponsor, Corporate Shit. Let me tell you something, I love my corporate shit. I use it when I go to Grandma Yoga. I use my corporate shit in the bathroom. I never leave my house without my corporate shit. And right now I have an exclusive discount code for you to get you 10% off and me a 5% kickback. Use code OINKOINK to get your corporate shit today. Influencers are salesmen. And of course, we know why they would do ad reads like this, even if they're not passionate about the product. It's because they're trying to make a couple bucks. The thing is, when an influencer does an ad read, you know you're being sold to. You know it's a sales pitch. You know it's an ad. You can choose to dismiss it entirely because it's traditional sales advertising. But I'm here to tell you, that's barely scratching the surface on how salesmen-like influencers really are. There are 3 terms that have become interchangeable over the last decade: influencer, content creator, and journalist. Now, sure, most journalists work for media companies, where they're supposed to inform on the news so that you're able to make educated decisions on how to live your life. And we'd like to believe that journalists are morally just and truly do inform in a non-biased perspective. But would you be surprised to know that most news agencies are owned by entertainment companies? Right, Disney owns ABC and ESPN, Comcast owns NBC and Universal, Warner Brothers owns HBO and CNN, National Amusements owns Paramount and Viacom, and CBS. Amazon owns The Washington Post, MGM, and Twitch. Yes, all the largest news agencies are the same entertainment companies, making all the entertainment. But let's dive a little deeper and bring it closer to home. Entertainment journalism. Okay, well, comicbook.com is owned by Paramount. Hollywood Reporter, Billboard, Variety, Rolling Stone, and Deadline are all owned by Penske Media Corporation. And PMC also owns stakes in the Golden Globes, American Music Awards, Streamy Awards, Country Music Awards, Billboard Music Awards. Yeah, did you know that? All the award shows are just a handful of companies too. Kotaku is a subsidiary to Go Media for now, before it gets sold off to a local Goodwill. The Mary Sue is owned by Gamers Group, which owns 17 other media publications like Destructoid and The Escapist. Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Fandango, and Fandango is owned in part 75% by NBC Universal and 25% to Warner Brothers Discovery. IGN is owned by Ziff Davis, and Ziff Davis also owns Humble, PC Mag, Eurogamer, Dicebreaker, CNET, and BlackFriday.com of all things. Does this make a little bit of sense yet? Well, no, Wizard. You said this video was about influencers. Why are you talking about journalists? Because today, as everything stands, journalists are not there to inform you on the truth. They are there to be a pen and shield for their corporate financiers. A journalist's job today is to produce propaganda that dulls your senses from asking questions, so that you're compliant to keep spending money. Look at IGN for a moment. Everyone knows IGN pulls their punches. Everyone knows IGN loves to virtue signal. Why? Because if they're nice to the corporate product and say nice things, the idea is that you'll be convinced to buy said product, but also they'll keep their access to keep promoting other products for similar corporations. Look at Rotten Tomatoes. They've installed a whole verification system where you need to purchase a ticket from a specific site and be registered in order to leave a review. Why would they do that? Why would they want to silence people that have seen the movie? Well, to defend their crappy films and suppress vocal dissent from viewers like you. The job of a journalist is to run defense for their corporate masters, and the job of an influencer or a content creator is the same thing. At the beginning of this video, I talked about integrity, and can you trust the people in your life? Influencers are in your life, but not really. You don't really know them. You don't know who they are when the cameras are off. They may start off on this journey with the best intentions, trying to create art, but the bigger they get, the more influence they will amass. Eventually, they will hit a fork in the road. They'll have to make a choice. Am I willing to continue being authentic and telling the truth from my perspective? Or will I have to change who I am in order to pursue the mainstream, work with more companies, and make more money? Friends, how many creators can you point to that would have a catchphrase as aggressive as cancel Disney Plus like me? Maybe a handful, sure, but not many more than that. You see, people like me are fringe creators, willing to call out companies for their mistakes and scrutinize them for trying to manipulate people like you, trying to tell you what to think and how to feel. Well, who are the ones telling you what to think and how to feel? Who are the ones that tell you how amazing things are, even when you kind of think it's just okay? Or run damage control when a company puts out a terrible product? Who are the ones willing to smear others for their dissent against corporate interests? Just like journalists run defense for corporations, influencers do the exact same thing, even when they're not paid to do it. They dull their words, they pull their punches, they choose to always give the benefit of the doubt to the companies. They're nice and empathetic when it suits their own interests to further relationships and networking with their corporate overlords. These are the influencers you see on the red carpets. They're the ones getting the special gift boxes and gift bags from companies. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Lucasfilm, for this Jar Jar blanket. It only cost me my soul. Or what's left of it. And this really isn't anything new. Most of you already know this. Being a sellout is not a new thing. And with any luck, you're able to discern who's a corporate shill and who isn't. Who are the ones that have the best access to corporate media? Who are the ones always being invited to play test games and almost always have amazing things to say? Really? You played the game for 6 hours and have no criticism? Nothing? Like at all? Huh. It's kind of like your input really means nothing then, if you're incapable of critical thought. You know, it's the kind of thing of like when you tell a friend, like, hey, here's this thing I'm working on. Can you give me your thoughts? Can I get your input? What do you think? And they reply back with, it's good. It's good. That's it? You have nothing else to say? No, it's fine. And most of the time, if your friends are saying that, they either don't care or they're pulling their punches because they don't want to hurt your feelings. Well, in this case, we are overwhelmed with would-be and narcissistic influencers that will tell you everything is good because they want to lull you into a false sense of reality and they don't want to upset their corporate masters. Because if they told you what they really thought, if they offered even a shred of real criticism, it might scare you off from buying. It's like that pilot episode of Mad Men when Don Draper explains what advertising is.
Advertising is based on one thing. Happiness. And you know what happiness is? Happiness is the smell of a new car. It's freedom from fear. It's a billboard on the side of the road that screams with reassurance that whatever you're doing, it's okay. You are okay.
My friends, influencers, most of them, are willing to do whatever they have to do to get ahead. And get ahead is a broad term. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's fame, sometimes it's just more access. And they're willing to put on a show to do it. They're like magicians. It's a big show of misdirection. They're not actually capable of magic. It's all sleight of hand. Except you aren't even the real audience. You are the rabbit they pull out of their hat and wave around, putting on display for their corporate masters that are sitting in the theater. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. It really means a lot. If this video brought you any value at all and you're new here, you want to see more from me, please consider hitting the subscribe button. If you liked the video and you don't want to see any more of me, you could hit the like button too on the way out. I am never going to be one of those influencers. You know how I know that, and I can really promise you that? My slogan, my catchphrase, the thing I say in all my videos, especially at the end of almost every single video, is cancel Disney Plus. If you think any corporation is ever going to want to work with me after having a catchphrase as volatile as cancel Disney Plus, whew, that's wild. Anyway, for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Ta-ta.